And we are rolling. This is my first video for 2018. I've got a couple of products to talk about and a little bit more about the wonderful 2018 in California. We've got some new gun laws, so I have to butcher my ARs even more than they were butchered to start with. A bunch of other things are illegal. You can no longer order ammo online. So I'll be doing a lot of reloading, I guess, but I generally stocked up. I'm okay. This state stinks. I need to move. With that out of the way, first I would like to talk about one of my favorite blunt tools that I've used lately, the Elcan Spectre TR. I've been testing it for a while. I like it. It's an interesting sight. And also I received the SIG Kilo 2400 ABS. I'm just starting to look at. It's really cool. I know it's not news, but I'm slow, I take my time, and I'm very careful when I test stuff, so it's difficult for me to be the first one to review anything, really, just because I like to take my time, I like to be thorough, and I don't like to compromise my standards. Let's talk about the Elcan Spectre TR. So like all Elcans, like most Elcans, externally adjustable mount. No more arms levers on this one. Couple of looks like half-inch nuts. Actually didn't check which exact size it is. They have little slots in them, so you can also tighten them or release them using a screwdriver or a knife blade, anything really flat. The mount is technically a 34mm mount, so I wonder if there's a way to convince Elcan to start selling the mount separately. I think I didn't measure. I think it is a 34mm because for long-range world, this could be really interesting, right? You can put a conventional scope, 34mm tube scope into this, and use it to dial in for ELR, extended long range, that kind of stuff. But anyhow, so this is a Spectre TR. TR stands for tri-power. And it, as the name suggests, there are three distinct magnifications, whether there is 9x, there is 3x, and there is 1x, and they're controlled by this lever. And the amazing thing, in a typical variable scope, you have to spend some time turning the ocular and things like that. Here, if I want to, right now it's a 9 power, if I want to go to 3 power, this is 3 power. If I go to 1 power, this is 1 power. The transition is really fast, and that is a big deal. This being an Elcan, so there is very little sticking out. There is one control on this side where you adjust the magnification. There's one control on this side where you adjust reticle illumination. It's a standard 2032 battery, and the elevation and windage are done in the mount, so it's kind of all under the scope, nice and tight. It looks fairly smooth. It's not light. It's I think the whole thing is right around 30 ounces, something like that. So it's there's weight to it. If you run out of ammo, nice handle. You can bludgeon baby seals with this thing, no problem whatsoever. Now, what else can I tell you? Comes with the Tenebrae, I hope I pronounced it correctly, scope caps. The way the eyepiece and everything is set up, it looks like you see, I don't know if you can see from here, the lens is really recessed by more than an inch. I mean, I stuck my finger and I did not touch the lens. Part of it is the Tenebrae adapter. I think there is an adapter on the front. At least it looks like it might be. Part of it is just natural sunshade. Sunshade is a good thing. And on the ocular side, there is also a little bit of a, you don't really need the sunshade here, but it kind of helps you see the image and cut down a little bit on the glare, on the reflectance from the lens, that kind of stuff. To get the first thing out of the way, in terms of mechanical robustness, I was not able to do anything to upset this thing. And in terms of optics, it's everything I would expect from an Elcan. It's nice. It's bright and clear, and field of view's pretty wide. The way this thing is done, the way they did this one, or tri-power. So the base optical system is basically a 3x, 3 times power optic. And what this little control on the side does, there are 2 extra optical groups in there. You flip one or the other into the optical path to make 1 power or 9 power. Okay. Effectively, you either magnify by 3 or divide by 3. So with 2 different lenses, and it works. Yeah, it works pretty nicely. The illumination is super bright. For example, right now it's bright daylight outside, and if I crank this all the way up against the sky, against anything white, I can clearly see the white dot. And if you see it after all this motion, I see the white dot, the red dot clearly. And I can take a shot. It is very forgiving. When you flip to 3 power or 9 power, what's illuminated is not the center dot, it's the whole grid is illuminated, and that illumination is a lot more faint, right? And it's really well calibrated for low light. So you don't get a bright illuminated reticle at 3 power or 9 power, but you do get it at 1 power. And I kind of like it this way, honestly. I went and took a class for this thing, and at 1x is seriously fast. It's as fast as any scope I've seen to date, almost as fast as a good reflex or holographic side. It's not, yeah, that part of it is nicely done. When you look through it, because of how this extends, you see a little bit of the housing. So it's not like there is an image just floating in the air in front of you. You see the housing. I didn't find it bothersome at all. It's not tunneling, right? It's not the same thing. You're just seeing this thing in the front of the eyepiece. That's really what you see. Another interesting quirk is so the reticle is etched in glass, right? And when it's 3x, it's a nice black reticle that you see. It has holes for a 762 millimeter card, 762 by 51, so basically for 308 out to about 1,000 yards. I played with them a little bit. They work adequately. There's a mil scale on the horizontal axis. It all works nicely. I had it in a 308, I had it in a Grendel, I had it on a 556 with a 77 grain Match King. It all worked reasonably well. I didn't have any issues using the reticle. But what happens is that when you flip the power to 9, it physically magnifies the reticle, and the lines in the reticle don't look pitch black, it looks like dark gray, right? So because you're magnifying, looking at it a little bit more closely, it looks like it has slightly different color. It's not reflective, it's not doesn't turn copper or anything like that, like you see with some Lupo and some other scopes. It just doesn't look pitch black, it looks gray. So that's more or less the only quirk. One other thing to keep in mind is that, like most battle sights, it's really designed for people with young eyes. So there is no focus adjustment on the eyepiece. If you want to use this without corrective lenses of some sort, glasses, contacts, etc., you may have eye fatigue. It is the same case with ACOG, with other Elcans, with anything that does not have an adjustment for the focus adjustment for the eyepiece. Right. So if you glance through it and the reticle does not immediately look sharp, you may want to look elsewhere because that will cause eye fatigue. I wear contacts, my eyes are pretty well corrected, I don't have any issues with this, but it is something to keep in mind. So finally, what do I think of it? I've been beating it up on and off for many months, and it's one of my favorite sights out there. It's a little quirky, like Elcan sometimes is, but it really works well. Hasn't given me any trouble. I've hit things with it pretty far out. It's not light, but honestly, so almost any decent 1:8 scope weighs about 24-25 ounces. Add a mount to it, and you're at the same 30 plus ounces. This is 30 ounces, so it's about the same. For the capability you get, there's nothing quite like this in the market. The nice 1:8s like the Minox ZP8 and others perform excellently, and in some ways maybe even better at 8 power, but few are as good at 1 power with the field of view as wide. And here's kind of the thing, most others are built sort of as precision-ish optics, etc. This is a battle sight, it's designed for that, and I'm very impressed with what I've seen with it. so far. I wrote an article not long ago, I think I called "If I Could Have Only One." This would be a very strong contender for the only one rifle, right? Because I can do almost everything with it with minimum fuss. So that's Elcan Spectre TR. I like it. I generally like Elcans. They usually agree well with my eyes. My primary AR sight is an Elcan Spectre OS, the fixed for power, which I like immensely. I've tested the dual power Elcans and like them a lot. And I think the tri-power takes it to the next level. It's not cheap, so if you don't know how much Elcans cost, you probably can't afford it. There's no shame in that. If I didn't get to play with this stuff the way I do, I probably wouldn't be able to afford it either. But if I was out there, you know, putting my ass on the line, this scope would definitely be a contender. Anyhow, so that's my first Dark Lord of Optics review of the new year. I'll talk about the SIG in the next video clip. Thank you for watching. Dark Lord out.